I felt like being outside tonight, so I made a quick pit stop at a park. And I'm kind of surprised it's still open, but it seems like it's even more lively at night than it is during the day. The feeling that I have right now is reminiscent of a few things. Um, One would be kind of homelessness, kind of being outside in the night air and just, kind of being like a fly on the wall. You're somebody that's not really noticed because, you're not interacting kind of with everyone else. The second feeling I got is kind of college years, being outside, on the steps of the dorm with your dorm mates. And I guess the last feeling would be kind of like, teenage years, and I feel so bad because I broke my mom's heart so many times because I just wanted to be outside in the night air. And that's how I feel tonight. And it's January 24th and it's Friday, 8:11 p.m. And it's wintertime in South Florida, but it's cool. I don't know exactly what the temperature is. I guess I could find out, but I'm thinking it's probably like 65 degrees, something like that. Um, but it's I'm comfortable in what I have on. I just have like a little brisk feeling towards it. Um, and I kind of like it. I like the cool air like this when it's not freezing cold. I kind of feel nostalgic, but not in a melancholy nostalgic way. Nostalgic in just the fact that I realized there were some happy times in the past, and perhaps I miss it just a little bit. Today, the whole feeling of the day has been reminiscent of a lot. The feeling of new beginnings. Me hitting the streets today hard, trying to find, a job and keeping a positive outlook in that, even if there's jobs out there that, perhaps I need to brush up a little bit more on, or perhaps, it's not something that's normally respectable. For instance, I went to this bookstore because they were looking for a part-time somebody, and they've been having ads like forever, which doesn't mean anything because some of the places that I've been to before had ads forever. But they were looking for someone that wasn't scared, to be in that type of environment. And to be honest with you, when I went there, I didn't go and immediately say, "Hey, I need to apply for a job." I kind of checked it out a little bit. Hung out kind of as a customer would, and just kind of scoped out the whole store. To kind of see were there any products that I was familiar with, how I felt about the sales associate coming up to me and talking to me about it. How did I feel about all those things? And I've been in an adult bookstore or novelty store before, and I remember just being so nervous, but I wanted to go because I wanted to see what was in there. And the sales girl, I was a little offended because she put the vibrator or whatever on my nose, and I'm just like, I really don't want nobody touching me. So it was kind of odd. But that store, I have to say, is a very nice looking store. But I have nice things to say about everybody, but really, that's a place that I would, if I had money to shop, I would definitely shop there. Things have changed a lot, I guess, since the last time I ran in and visited a place like that. In that, there's a lot more products out there. I remember there's this one thing. I was like, "What is that?" It looks like a thing that you would put your finger in to dry your nails, but it has like all these little pink curvy things, like a fan. And I was like, "What is that?" And the lady was like, "Oh, that's a tongue." And I was like, "What?" So it's they have all kinds of things out there, and I'm just like, interesting. And then the last time I looked at, like, when I had a real apartment, I used to be in good shape, so I used to be, oh my gosh, I'm like 50 pounds more. And and I can't believe that was only like maybe 5 years ago, but they had a stripper pole that was like $100. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll put that in the living room because it's me by myself. So that would be my dance studio. But now they have one with disco lights on the top and everything. So um, a lot has changed. And, I've changed a lot because whereas they may have had cakes, cakes and things like that that were shaped in fallacies. And maybe when I was younger, hey, how you doing? Maybe when I was younger, I would actually, think it would be fun to go and get something like that and bake it and have girlfriends over. But now that I'm older, I don't think that that's something that I would even consider. I would even consider doing. So, I mean, a lot has changed. Even with me, even walking back on the way back to where I'm going, I heard on the radio they were talking about this club, and I used to stay by there. And I was thinking to myself a couple of different things. At one point, I would have been so anxious to get dressed up and get sexy down and go. But one, I don't drive anymore, so you can't keep away the people that you don't want to be bothered with. And then two, it's a black club, the black men in South Florida, the ones that attend clubs like that, they're not anything that you would kind of want to deal with. And then the third thing is that I'm just, too old. I think like clubs and places like that, I think in youth you have a lot of vanity. And so it's all about me, look at me, I'm best, I'm better, and this, that, and the other. But once you get to a certain age, it's like it's not about vanity anymore. You realize what you have and what you don't have. And you realize what you have and what you don't have. And I mean, that's it. You don't need to brag about it. You don't need to say you're better than somebody else because, the wisdom kicks in. You live and you die. Everything that happens in between is really, the only difference. And and humility, humbleness is a very underrated thing. So that's it. And then a lot of thoughts as far as, I went to go return some items, a lot of thoughts about just different feelings that hit me, and I'm gonna tell some of them. I started to jot them down because I was too tired to come back, so I just needed to take a break. So I started writing a little bit. But one of the things, I have my rolling cart with my bag on it, and one of the things, like when I was approaching Aventura, that I felt a feeling of kind of, I guess, loneliness, like the feeling that like a woman, and this is not definitely not the situation I'm in, but I remember this feeling of being a female that, on a Friday night, you're going shopping, you have a roof over your head, you have money, you're going shopping, and none of those things, but you're not happy, and the reason you're not happy is because the person that you're mated with, is not nowhere to be found. So the shopping and all those types of things are like non consequential. So that was one feeling I got, and I remembered, back when I was kind of in that situation, but maybe not as glorified. And then the other feeling that hit me is that I haven't been to that mall in so long. So many things have changed. The last time I saw the koi pond, and then when I came back, I remember I said I was never going there again. I think the last time I went was when in 2008, slightly after the legal incident happened. And that was somebody else's doing. I think there was a guy that had a lot of money, and I think he was going down. So he was trying to, whatever fun he could have, whatever females he could find. So I think I went to that mall. I think he gave me like 1,500, and I swear I only came out with a dress and some nail polish for $1,500. And it was an ugly dress at that. So yeah, so I said I was never going back to that mall. I just balked at the amount of money that was spent. I could have took that money, paid like 3 months rent, and had a whole wardrobe. So, and then I think the next time I saw that person, he was on a Metro Hoover and looking quite homeless. And I think he did tell me, because we was talking about someone else putting me on a bankroll so that I could be like assistant or something like that. But then he was like, I don't know what this had to do anything, but the feds was after him or something like that. I don't know. But so that's what happened. And speaking about men, um, just I think the reality, like of men folk, is not a good thing because even that person, during that time I was dating someone supposedly, and this person, um, he claimed to be this, that, and the other. His money proved it, I guess, because they were closing down stores to let him go in and buy things. But, and, for me, like I said, I'm never in that type of relationship type thing. But he had, like, a wife and two kids with some kind of disorder, and I was like, oh, I can help the kids and this, that, and the other. And it's just what disappointed me, kind of, and I kind of understood like the lifestyle was that, I wasn't one of those women, but he was basically like, he had females, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, wow, really? You have a wife at home and you have these women like that. And I think that's just the nature. And today, when I was going to the first interview, I was early, so I was just like wandering around. And as I was wandering around, I came across all these people that were standing outside in the line. They looked a little disheveled, so I'm sure, it looked like a line where they were giving out free items. So, I didn't have anything else to do. So I went and stood in line with them and tried to find out what was going on. And it turned out it was a quote unquote food bank. It was a sad excuse for a food bank. They were giving away a lot of stale bread, and basically maybe we just came late, but like a cake, and there was only one that was decent, and I happened to get it. But one of the ladies, I was telling her, oh, well, I'm glad this is here because I didn't bring lunch money, and I was like, I can stop and pick up some lunch. And I told her my situation, that basically I was job hunting, and she was like, oh, well, why don't you find you a boyfriend or get you a husband, get married? And it's just like when people say stuff like that, because that's not the first time someone said that to me, but when people say stuff like that, it's like my heart hits the floor. And the reason why my heart hits the floor is because, to me, that's just a socially accepted form of prostitution. Why would you do that? Why would you go get your solution to, oh, you're having, your job searching and whatever else, is go get a husband? How can you say that? I mean, like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? That should not, if you decide to do that, that should not be the reason, And I'm like, wow, really? So basically, and I explained to her, I was like, I don't understand that. You're not the first person that's told me that. And she was like, oh, she tried to then push it back to love. But I'm like, being a woman that has been in various situations where, you're single, you don't have family, you don't have friends, there's different avenues that you go through to socialize. As y'all know, sometimes I have Mopo space. I'll get on that and chat with whatever random person is there, just for company and just for a conversation if I can get it. And then sometimes I do the POF. I go on there to network, and then what else do I do? I used to do Craigslist a little bit, but not so much anymore. But I browse every now and then to see if I see something. But pretty much I've been on there for years, so everybody that's on there I've come in contact with, you know, by the internet one way or text one way or the other. I never ever met anybody. But, being in chat lines, I used to do a chat line too. So being a woman that has been exposed to that, that's been on the other side, that really nobody has a reason to want to or try to impress me. You see a lot of things. You see people that are in relationships, out there. I'm just looking for conversation, but obviously they're trying to do something completely different. Men are dirty. And then, being, like I said, I lived in Overtown for a while. You see guys that apparently look like they were doing well off, and they get off work and they stop at Overtown, pick up some person that obviously looked like they were strung out on drugs, or just wasn't doing well, pick them up, drive around the block, drop them back off, and get back on the interstate. Their wife would never know. So, and then when I started telling her about that, she didn't want to hear anymore, because I guess she could see how that could really happen. So I don't know. I mean, like, and at first I was a little bit like, oh my gosh, my feet hurt. I've been walking all day long. I've walked probably like literally 10 miles, and going to all these different places, meeting all these different people. And then, the last stretch, I had to drop off some stuff. I went to drop that off, and walking on the way back, I missed two of the community buses. And really, I need to stop complaining about stuff like that, because the community bus takes you all of like less than half a mile. So you're waiting for an hour to go half a mile. So it doesn't really make a difference. But this is going to be to be continued. And the next segment of it is going to be on drawing from your inner strength and not allowing yourself to be weakened.